Continue to go in alphabetical order. We're going to go on down to memory game, Artscape.
Yeah, great family. He's a horse that we did castrate. A little bit on the smaller side, slider build. But here's a horse that with a ton of pedigree. His mare made $900,000. I think he'd be a great fit and handy colt over the half-mile tracks in New York, and got enough pedigree to step up when they do go to their bigger tracks also. He trained a mile a day in 244. He's still doing everything right.
Good.
He's
That's all we can ask for at this point, really,
he's
isn't
doing
it?
things right.
Let's go back to Illinois, to the Sportsmaster filly, the Roan filly.
Yeah, she's doing well too. We had a little bit
Moment of magic, by the way.
Moment of magic. She had wanted to run a little low-grade virus, I'm thinking, last week. We didn't get a chance to train her. She wanted to have a temperature 101, 101.2. Treated that with a little bit of antibiotics. She come out of everything good. Didn't really have a snotty nose or anything. So we were glad to see that. And today she trained right back with the other one. She trained in 242.
Okay.
It's coming along real well. It looked like shoe and change possibly. She is a little bit higher going, Phil. She's one that will probably go those aluminums up in front. But that's nothing. That's just a call that I'll make. Somewhere down the line.
Do you think she'll start out in Illinois? Or do you think she'll start out up
We're going to kind of. That's going to be something that we're going to have to decide with these Illinois breds, because along with the ones not only that you own, there's some other ones that we have, and trying to figure out which is the best way to do it. We want to work with the economics, knowing the uncertainty of what's happening in Illinois. Does it warrant racing them in maidens right now in Illinois for 2,400? If they're not going to be stakes horses, it's kind of tough, But the plus side is, if I send them to Illinois, the training bills can be less. So do we finish them off in Illinois, and if they look like they're not going to be stakes horses, give them a little bit of a break and race them in their non-winners of 1-2. Poconos, Chester, Tioga towards the end of the year, and consider leaving them north. Next winter, we'll come back to Florida, race them in the late closing series at the Meadowlands, if that's an option, or wherever there could be. So the Illinois stuff is a little questionable, just as far what's the right way to go.
Okay. I guess that'll depend on what they show you.
Yeah,
as we come April, are we going to keep them up here and keep racing them, or are we going to slow down a little bit with them? Let's go over to another rock and roll lover, filly.
Yeah, she's a little bit on the smaller side. She did struggle early here, trying to find her gait. Wasn't quite as strong as some of the other horses. Seemed to get a little bit tired, working out. But she a little bit high going filly, and she just kind of seemed to struggle. She just wasn't as great of a horse as some of the other ones. And I think that might have part to do with it. She could be a real nice horse, and we could have some really nice horses. That remains to be seen. I trained her in 244 today. I see big improvements with her. She's continuing on. She's coming along nice. I see no reason why she's not going to be a racehorse.
Okay.
And hopefully better than that. For me to say comparing her to Joy Rocking, there's no comparison. But that doesn't mean if Joy Rocking turns out to be a sire stakes horse, and Rock and Roll Lover turns out to be a late closer horse, there's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
So she's just not as impressive as an individual from the word go, but she's made a ton of improvement. She's a nice filly.
And again, we're only in February, so we've got a long way to go.
I mean, I wish I had that crystal ball.
It's trying to decide whether a 5-year-old's going to be an NBA player or not. It's kind of tough. Let's go on down to another Illinois bred, Sergeant Stryker.
If I contemplated paying this horse actually into some of the open stakes, and we still may in some of them around Illinois. He trained today with Big Easy, which is not a VIP horse, but he was the pretty expensive Rock and Roll Hanover colt that we bought at Harrisburg. He was in the same set with Louis the Card Shark, who we already touched on. And these three colts, they trained awesome today. I mean, they got everything going for them. They got the looks, they got the size. I'm just a big fan of that Sportsmaster on the match scooter mares. It just seems to work. He acts like he could be kind of a top Illinois bred horse. So I would say that would be looking at him to be racing there, and hopefully very competitive in the sire stakes program.
That'd be great. That shouldn't be that strong. So if you got a good horse here, you can do very well.
And that's one of the reasons that we purchased some Illinois breds was simply the numbers game. It's a little bit higher than the Kentucky Sire Stakes, but there might have been 198 yearling colts, and half of them are by sires that you haven't ever heard of. So to get the chance to have a good horse, you've really decreased your odds. So
Right. What he trained in today, John?
he was in 240.
240 also. Yeah, well, that's really good. That's like you said, it's nice to pick up a few Illinois bred just in case. The numbers are in your favor. Back to another rock and roll colt, Van Halen's Comet.
Here's a horse that's made tremendous improvement. He was a real tough bully colt when we started with him. Wanted to fight the hobbles. He wanted to go out and try. It took a while to get him gated. Working around the barn, just a very, very tough colt. We got one groom that's been with me here for a couple years now, and he just has taken his time. He's really worked with him. We did have him castrated because he was pretty testy. He would bite you, he'd get you. His manners are coming around, and since we castrated him, his attitude on the racetrack has been good. It's better now. He goes out, he's all business, he's not farting around, he's not thinking about breeding everybody and everything in sight. Very happy with his progress right now.
Okay.
He's a real nice colt. I was very happy with him. He trained today in 244. I think he's on the right track. He's got the Arts Place dam, so rock and roll. Arts Place,
You know me.
I think we're good.
Abercrombie.
I think we're good.
We got a nice race list. All right, we're coming down the home stretch now. Walking on Broken Glass, another rock and roll colt.
He's a very similar colt. If you were to look at him on the racetrack, look at him as individuals to Van Halen's Comet. Hasn't had the issues that we had with Van Halen Comet as far as being mean and doing stuff and being difficult. The only thing we did do with him, he wants to race other horses when he can see other horses. Blind Bridle, if he didn't have a horse in his field of vision, he wouldn't really be aggressive and want to attack him. You put a horse in front of him, he wants to go after him. So we made a little bit of an equipment change on him. We put some cups on him with some holes in them so we can see other horses. And just now he's aggressive the whole time. He wants, since he can see the horse, he wants to go after him. Just being out there otherwise, I was a little concerned because when I pull, he would pace up and he would kind of stall. And when we train him in sets of 3 or 4 for the most part. I want him to learn how to do things. I want him to go past horses, sit on the outside, and when they come, they need to come hard and keep going. With pull him, you come out of a hole, take a couple steps, then you just kind of be a little bit lazy. So I would try a little bit of equipment change on him. Did that, and he's right back. He's a very, very nice colt. Got the right pedigree. Same thing. Here we are, rock and roll, Arts Place mare, great family.
Yeah, that's where all the big ones are coming from.
Yeah, so we're stable that rocks this year. I mean, there's 7 of them, so hopefully we're okay. And today, when we trained him today, he trained a mile in 242. So we're right on schedule for where we need to be.
Yeah, I hear you. Go back to another trotter with the halibut, Yankee Glide.
Yeah, this was a horse that we actually had to twist Larry's arm a little bit to get involved, and thought we just wanted to diversify the portfolio a little bit, and let's throw a trotter in the mix. So we were able to get that job done. I was real happy with this colt. One of the things that intrigued me about it, I'm a fan of the Yankee Glides. This mare had 2 very small classic photos. Both of them made it to the races. Both of them raced relatively well. The 3-year-old, well, he's 4 now, Herb Miller had both of them. This was a lot bigger, stronger colt, coming along real well. He was a little bit further behind in that he had an OCD taken out. He did train today. He was, if you're going to have one negative, he's the only horse that made a break today. He did make a break when we come off the last turn with the set of 4. We had the drag on the outside, and we were kind of pinched in. The other trotters went in 244. He made a break, come right back trotting, trotted in 246, his training mile today. But very happy with him. He's a big, strong colt.
Yeah, he's a big colt.
Yeah.
He looks the part. Keeps straight
hopefully,
for his ears, right?
Hopefully the Yankee Glide on that mare, self-possessed mare, will be a. I'm looking for a plus factor there. I think we're helping the pedigree.
Right. The last one that we had, I believe, is Western Terror filly English.
English. She's just a fun horse to train. She's not very big. The good filly from last year. No, not CU Peelers. Dropped the ball. It was a very small Western Hanover filly. or Western Terror filly, I'm sorry. And that's this filly. She's a big gaited filly. She's not real big. She's got the right family, and just a pleasure to be around. Larry trained her today, actually. He moved her, come up, set alongside. We went a mile in 2:42, and he was just all smiles because she was like, she's more of a whoa filly than a go filly. You got to say whoa because she wants to keep on going. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I know if Larry Barron can train her fast, she can really go fast.
There you go. Yeah. But yeah, he was all smiles when we pulled up our mile there. So I was happy to see that too. But she looked good. She's a good gaited filly. Got a great attitude. She's everything that you would want to see in a horse, other than she's small. And like I say, that's not a knock on the Western Terrors, because I've seen quite a few of them go forward like that. Right. Pennsylvania Sires, yeah. And when we were going over stake payments, I said, I might be crazy, but if you don't mind spending the $300 this month, assuming everything keeps going forward, let's pay her into the Breeders' Crown. So
okay. Hey, that's what most people are in the game for. You got to give it a shot. When you buy the young horses, you're hoping to find a good one. So you got to take a shot every once in a while, even if it doesn't work out. But overall, John, it looks like we've got a pretty credible group of horses out there. There's a nice group of 2-year-olds. My guess is it's probably the best group that you've ever been associated with as a whole. As
a whole, yes. The depth of stuff to start with, the pedigrees, the individuals, the numbers, everything. I'm very, very excited. I was happy with what we got at the sales. I was excited to get them down here and get them broke and going along and see how they are. And every step of the journey so far has been a positive one. There's a couple that are straggling a little bit behind, some that are a little bit standouts now. It is February. You'll ask me in March, I'm sure I'll have a different opinion on some of them. Some good that will be doing not so well, or vice versa. I mean, it's growing pains. So we got the individuals. As long as I do my job right, we should be okay. I think we'll have some fun. Look forward to getting this group to the races and see what we can do. The only horse that's down here that we didn't touch on today was the 3-year-old credit winner called Vacation Credit, and we trained him a mile today. He's coming back real well so far this year as a 3-year-old. Went a mile in 2:15. Schedule is to qualify my 3-year-olds down here at the training center. They hold qualifying races right here. They do that the first 3 weeks of April. So as soon as they get qualified, they'll be ready to send north. So we're looking at a second week to mid-April departure date to send the 3-year-olds to Pocono. And the end of April, get the 2-year-olds up there. And
it's right around the corner.
It won't take long. Unfortunately, yeah, they won't be busy. There won't be no sitting on the 13th green at Eagle
I'm
Dunes
telling you,
and
this is the place to be. This is the place to come down and train your horses during the winter time. Anyhow, I'd like to thank John for your help this weekend. John and his staff, his family, Jackie and his son Tyler, did a great job. We hope that next year you consider coming on down and seeing the horses train. There's nothing better than coming on down to actually get the opportunity to meet your trainers, see your horses live as they're growing up and training. I think you really learn to appreciate the game much more, and you really just enjoy the entire experience. So consider coming on down next year, because we're going to do this again. It was a great time, and hopefully we'll see you again next year. This is Tom Janes and John Butenschoen from Sorrento, Florida, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.